Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's Christy here to do the monthly forecast for March 2018. This is for the sign of Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Rising. We'll be using the Good Tarot deck here for your main 10-card spread today. The monthly readings are going to be a little bit longer than our weekly readings used to be. So I really hope that you enjoy these, and of course I'll be doing mid-month check-ins with you. So 10 cards for your main spread. This is a general reading for all Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Use what is appropriate for you and discard the rest. And then following this, we will be doing a 5-card Romance Angels reading. Of course, if you're not committed or looking, this will be applicable to creative projects for you. And then we'll follow up with some cards from the Oracle decks with added messages for you. I will be drawing from the center of the deck for you, but anything that jumps out while shuffling, I'll show just in case it crops up in your reading. It's always interesting to see what'll crop back up. But we do have justice here. So there could be legal matters right now in a general sense, or you could be involved in something having to do with weighing a decision, weighing something out, this or that. But again, it's not necessarily a person there. That's sort of an energy. It's like an auspice that you could be under. The Hanged Man just came up there for a second. It could be that you're being indecisive about this. It could be that you're dealing with a Libra. Someone, or you have strong Libra in your own chart, for example. But it looks like there could be a decision on hold, even a legal decision on hold is what I saw there with the jumpers. So let's ask while shuffling, and then we'll cut the deck and get you started here. So what does Capricorn need to know for the month of March 2018? What does Capricorn need to know for the month of March 2018? And I'm really feeling like the cards are ready to be cut. It's so curious to me how much different it is to use the tarot as opposed to oracle cards, just even in the shuffling. Like, I'm perfectly content with jumpers out of these decks, for example. And, you know, I've tried it when I first got this, and it's just very uncomfortable. It also takes a long time. But I would much rather pull the cards for you here. So that's what we're doing today. Let me just rearrange my paperwork here and get your cards laid down. So already we've got 2 major arcanas. And anytime we're dealing with major arcana energy here, Capricorn, it really just means that it's not necessarily a person. This is our first court card. It could be another person involved with this type of energy. But generally, major arcana is looking at a total kind of energy or an environment that is either available to you or is occurring around you that you're being asked to be aware of. So there are definitive actors in your life this week that will play probably, again, it's a general reading, so you apply appropriately. But it looks like if these energies aren't directly having to do with you, that these are definitely other people that you'll be dealing with this month. Capricorn, just lovely to see for you is the 10 of Earth or 10 of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. This is general energy for your whole reading today for the month. And really this is just extreme prosperity, right? This is the height of prosperity. This is even wealth, okay? And because it's Pentacles, anything coins or pentacles has to do, or earth as this is really about, you know, the physical world, the 5 senses, and it typically does mean income. It typically does mean assets. So it could just be like a great deal of prosperity with assets this month. It is tax season, so you could be benefiting from that as well. But definitely the overall auspices for the reading is very comfortable, like creature comforts, and you're very settled and comfortable and confident in the real world. So this is a really comforting card to have for you as you are an earth sign. So let us get right into your spread today for you, Capricorn. Just off the top of the bat, we have 1, 2, So 2 major arcana cards. We're beginning with the Star here. And of course, this represents you. Now, this is a wish fulfilled, but as a major arcana, this is like, it could even be this. It's like, and especially with the Justice showing up when we were shuffling, for example, there's this sense of, you know, even if a decision is on hold, or if you have to make a decision and you feel rushed into it, or it's time sensitive, for example, it will work out. It does have long-term positive prospects here. And it's like a wish fulfilled here. It could even be like someone has to make the decision for you. Whatever makes that easier for you will probably occur for you, or something that's going to make you comfortable here. There could be an Aquarius that you're working with closely. Again, this is a general reading. So whether this is a love affair, work environment, you could be a student. So, you know, apply accordingly, but this card does represent the Aquarius. So you could be working with an Aquarius this month or someone very close to you, but it is in the querent position. So it's something that, you know, you're bringing forth. So it could be Aquarian energy. It could be this sense of like 11th house energy is wishes fulfilled, right? It's wishes granted. And it could be that you are the one who's granting someone else's wish, if that's the case. If this were to be sort of an actor or a player, as opposed to an energy, it could be like, you know, someone's waiting on you to provide for them as a wish fulfillment, and you're able to do it, which is really beautiful. So other 11th house energies are, you know, brotherhood, sisterhood, also technology. And Aquarius is a fixed sign, so it's really putting your foot down and you know, making long-term decisions here that are key. You're able to look at a total view of something, but you're also able to put your foot down about something, you know, in the nicest way, something that's going to work out for the masses or the populace, and it's going to stay that way. It's sort of it's called a fixed sign. It's fixed in its finality, in its decision. So it's actually quite a powerful energy, even if it's a little bit benign. Right? It's so friendly. It's wish fulfillment and all this stuff. Like, it's not a heavy energy, but it's very certain. And it can be accused of being stubborn, right? Like other fixed signs like Taurus and Leo, for example. But it doesn't mean that there's a stubborn aspect to it. It just means that you know when to put your foot down. And ultimately, especially, you know, under the 10 of Pentacles here, it's almost like, you know, everyone benefits anyway, so I don't see anyone arguing with you about this. Here's the situation, though. The situation is, you know, going within or withdrawal. Again, this is a potent energy. It's a major arcana. It's not a court card. There's no person here necessarily. So as an energy, the situation looks like, you know, maybe withdrawing, maybe going within a little bit. It could be that if you do have a wish fulfilled here, it's like maybe you can go on vacation. Maybe you can take a little bit of a step back from something. I don't see you being forced into this necessarily. I just see you saying, this could be good for me also. It's like, where do I go from here? Where do I, you know, I feel stuck, or I don't want to make a decision, or, you know, something, maybe something's out of your hands in terms of a time-sensitive situation. Maybe instead of, you know, wringing your hands over it or stressing or worrying about it, for example, there could be the sense of, you know what, I'm going to pull back from it and I'm just going to let it be. I'm going to go within. I'm going to get things done inside, because I can create equilibrium within, even though I don't have the relative power to make changes externally, if that's the condition here. You know, wishes and hopes, for example, being made manifest here. But there's also, I mean, you are very closely aligned to this card as well. The Hermit is actually the card of Virgo. So if it does represent a person in your environment, there could be a Virgo that you're working with this month, or in your environment, or you could have Virgo very strongly in your own chart, the first 5 planets, or Virgonian energy, which is hard work, okay? And it's also the exactor. It's the perfectionist, right? So there's some perfectionist qualities here as well. Maybe this is part of, you know, making this dream or wish come true. After all, it's almost like fine-tuning something here. So that could be occurring for you here. In your foundation is the 5 of Swords. So yeah, maybe you just need to rethink something as well, or you're being asked to reconsider something. Maybe you didn't want a decision or an outcome to affect one other person at least, and you recognize it will be. And it's almost like you recognize that maybe you were going to rush into something, for example, because you saw how prosperous or beneficial this could be. But it's like there's a little bit of a pause for thought here. And any fives, notwithstanding the element, is really just a little bit of conflict. But again, it's not a court card. It's not major arcana. So it's just basically looking at, and again, we're looking at swords. We're looking at the element air. So we're looking at an element of something going on within your own mind, something that you're thinking or imagining even. And you could be mulling over some ideas and concepts here with regard to your interest in helping other people's wishes and dreams come true as well. So if that's the case, Capricorn, don't beat yourself up at this time, especially if you're going within or if you feel a little bit withdrawn right now. You can have a prosperous life. You most likely do have a comfortable life, at least for March 2018 here. So, we don't want to go about, imagining problems or creating anything either. And you don't want your past to haunt you either. So with this as the foundation, and we can always learn and grow from conflict as well. So this isn't the be all end all. It's just almost this state of consideration. There's a great deal of consideration, but I do see this as something that's going on within. So don't be too hard on yourself here if that's the case. Here in your recent past is the Four of Pentacles. This is actually gorgeous. It's so closely aligned here with our 10 of Pentacles, and this is the happy home, right? So, oh, forgive me, I'm reading that as Wands. So the Four of Pentacles, rather, is sort of, it's being, the Four of Pentacles is really just saying, I don't want to make a move right now. I don't want to be forced into decisions. See, this is where I feel like your decision or your outcome here for the month has to do with a lot of other people. And maybe a lot of other people are relying on you and you have a lot of resources and assets, but it's almost like you might be trying to hold on to those. Or you might be a little protective of those. It's not necessarily a bad thing. But here it's almost like maybe you wanted even this concept to go away, but it's almost like, no, you have to face it. You have to make a decision here. You might even have to share something that you really would rather not, for feeling that it could take something from you. You don't want to get into a place here where you're dragging this energy into the month, for example, because this is recent past, right? Either, yesterday or last week. You don't want to get into this sort of like tightwad situation either. And yes, it's Pentacles. Yes, this is about the physical world, but you know what? We can be miserly about compassion and emotions and even sharing dreams and goals with people as well. So maybe it's just about, there's an opportunity to open up a little bit, but I do see a withdrawal here. So maybe you're not too comfortable or confident doing that. So don't beat yourself up about it. And consider this recent past energy. Let's move directly into our short-term outlook, just because this is already passed or is passing. And of course, you have your King of Water. So just gorgeous to see here. The King really is the master of his element. And this could represent you. So Capricorn, in terms of your short-term outlook, this is you being in control of and the master of your own emotions, okay? To the point where you're even able to express this in a sophisticated manner, right? Like you're emotionally sophisticated, which is lovely if you meet your match, right? Your Queen of Water, which is your hopes and fears here. And maybe that's part of what's going on. You've met your match, and on the surface or in the dream world, it should have, right, worked out, or it should be this, or it should be that. But this could be part of the torment, which is kind of like we just simply can't control other people, or even what we have boundaries and we can have expectations, but ultimately we can't control other people. So it's almost like this could be you. It could be energy coming into you as well in terms of a short-term outlook. Someone's trying to teach you to become more confident with your emotions. This could be a Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces in your environment as well, or you could have those energies as signs in your first 5 planets in your chart. So you could have a Cancer rising, for example, or, you know, Scorpio moon. And this could be something that's developing within. So your short-term outlook is very easily expressed, right? You're very confident in expressing this. And it looks like more confident in expressing this, for example, than in sharing physical wealth or even physical affection, which is, it's curious that I would even say that. It's because we like to think that they're in the same realm, they're in the same world, but they're not always, right? I mean, we can be physically affectionate because there's a duty involved in that, right? It's like you have to soothe someone, or you have to hug someone, or you kiss hello and goodbye. And it's almost like there's a methodology here, but this is the emotion behind it. This is what precedes the behavior, right? And it's very much mastery here. So your short-term outlook, and maybe something that you're personally working on, if this is happening within you, whether or not you're in a relationship, that matters not right now. It's almost like the person you're becoming here, your short-term outlook for yourself is this type of emotional prosperity and sophistication. And and this is what you're growing into, and this is what you expect from yourself. So it's actually quite lovely to see that for you. Here with the 8 of Water, this is your present state of the problem or a concern. And the 8 of Water is really just saying that something that you had hoped for in the world of the emotions, in the emotional realm, for example, isn't necessarily available to you, or there's cross messages, there's mixed messages here. Again, there's almost like maybe because there's a mastery here, and in your hopes and fears, there's a mastery by one other person, very, very likely here, Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, Sun, Moon, and Rising. It's almost like there's just a little bit of a disappointment, right? But again, it's like maybe your level of emotional mastery isn't theirs, and maybe it's almost like a conversation that needs to be had at this point, which is like, again, work, travel, student, relationship, it kind of doesn't matter. It's almost like, you know, how can I improve this type of communication? How can I get through to you in the way that you need me to? And, by extension, here's how to get through to me, etc. So maybe even having like a somewhat difficult conversation here, because the concern seems to be maybe not seeing eye to eye emotionally, or there being some sort of like, there's a little bit of maybe even like some drama or, over attention being paid to the emotional aspect of it, versus like, look at everything else that we have. Look at everything else that is actually going right, or that's wonderful. And it's sort of like, I don't want to be a Pollyanna either, because I'm a realist too, but there's this sense of not necessarily look at the bright side, but there's this sense of, like, even if there is a problem or an issue, like unless it's the same issue over and over and over, I would actually be concerned about that. But, if this is something that you're emotionally developing with another person, and this is like ongoing, and you're sort of like working your way there, say like next month, for example, you'll be at the 10 of Cups, and it's almost like, okay, beautiful, we finally get it, we understand, we're speaking the same language. So, don't give up here. It's a minor concern, and it might even be mutual. But both parties are feeling it, that's for sure. Here with your outside influences is the 10 of Cups. This is actually, look at this, the 10 of Earth, the 10 of Cups. This is like emotional fulfillment. Like, look at this, 10 of Water, King of Water, Queen of Water. right? And then we have our 7 and our 8 over here. Maybe some disappointments here in the heart or emotions. Maybe a lot of choices, not knowing which path to take, and maybe try all of them. I mean, if this is especially in a committed relationship, maybe say, oh, this doesn't work. Okay, well, let's try this. So this doesn't work. Okay, try this. And really square it out, like with your partner, or if there's something going on in your own life and this is strictly you, take note or make a list, like, by process of elimination. Well, this is working and this isn't working. And you don't have to be cold about it necessarily, right? You can be warm-hearted about it. But and you don't want to be brisk about it here, because we have internal influences, which is really this sense of like, you can be cutting, right? Especially if you're frustrated, especially if you're let down here. There's this propensity even to just say, screw it. I'm just gonna say what's on my mind as opposed to, what's in my heart, for example. And I think there could be a sort of a balancing act for you this month. And it could be, maybe that's part of why you need to go within here, and maybe part of your wish making or your ultimate achievement is be like, how do I marry these two parts of myself so that there's equilibrium there? So, as I was saying here, with your outside influence is the 10 of Cups. This is ultimate fulfillment. The 10 of Cups is really just home, happiness, pleasantries, health, family, even awards, rewards, physical world, emotional world. So no matter what is going on here, internally or externally, Capricorn, you're definitely self-contained, right? If you had 10 people to look after tomorrow, you could do it. If you were off in the woods by yourself tomorrow, you could do it. And it's almost like you'd be just as content, which is kind of cool, right? Because this is internal. So you're definitely like self-actualized and emotionally developed here as an internal influence. But here again, look, is as an outside influence, and internally, like, just remarkable. There's this, you're frustrated, right? Like, look at this. There's this conflict. That's 5 of Swords if you can't see it. There's the frustration, there's a little bit of conflict, and then there's the Knight of Swords, which is, I'm gonna lay it on the line, and all niceties out of the way, and this needs to be said, etc., etc. You get where I'm going with this. And your internal, this influence that's coming out from within is really sort of pushing you to take that direction. And I think the spread is really just saying right now, it might not be appropriate, and it might not be well received, even if it would be expedient, right? And maybe the point right now, because you're just leaving this energy, maybe the point right now is not expediency. Okay, you didn't get to the 10 of Earth by being expedient. You did it by being patient and thorough and exacting and hardworking and long-term goal mate, etc. Okay, same with the 10 of Cups. You didn't get to these to this type of outcome in your physical world. This lavish prosperity, friends and family and home and relationships, even your emotions, by being expedient. So the lesson here could just be about like, what's, one way to frame it too is to say, is it more important to be right? Is it more important to be right? But I do feel like what is going on here could be ongoing, and it could be a little bit draining, especially if this is the same concern over and over on an emotional realm here, and you feel like you're getting to the point where like you're going to be cutting. Definitely take a break, go within, withdraw a little here. And I can't help going back to that justice jumping out. Originally, where a decision maybe needs to be made, and then the Hangman jumped out after that, which is almost like it's stuck in suspension. So I recognize the time here, so I'm gonna mosey on through the rest of the cards. Here we have the Queen of Water. This is your hopes and fears. I'm going to suggest if you're in a relationship, this is just simply the other person. It could be a man or a woman, depending on who the viewer is right now. And of course, Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, Sun, Moon, and Rising. This is your hope and your fear right now, is what I'm guessing. You really want this to come to fruition. You need this person to see your side of things, but you're being asked here with your long-term outcome to be really creative with some solutions, okay? Your Seven of Cups here is just saying that you have a lot to choose from. Unless you're actively looking for additional partners, maybe just play with some ideas within the relationship or within the concern. Maybe something that you have already done in the past, maybe it could work again, or have a communication, have that conversation with this loved one. If it isn't in an interpersonal relationship or a love relationship, this is really just speaking to having a lot of choices, especially on the emotional front, and being quite confused by it or feeling a little bit overwhelmed emotionally by it, but try not to let that bring you down. 10 to 1, you'll know what to do, especially if you sort of take a little step back from it. And remember, expediency really isn't going to be your best friend this month, Capricorn. I would say do what's natural, take your time. Of course, with the messenger of air as an internal influence, you could very well have Aquarius, Gemini, or Libra in your sun, moon, and rising. This could be an internal conflict for you if this isn't another person in your environment this month who has those same signs, Aquarius, Gemini, or Libra, for example. So let's pull your 5 romance angel cards for your love reading. I really hope you're enjoying this. I really like this new style, and it's a little bit longer than it used to be. And I certainly am really enjoying the long version of this, as you are, for your advice. So honeymoon, enjoy the bliss of holiday time together. So for couples and singles, this is really about getting away, learning people's love styles, right? Having that conversation, being communicative, being open, not living in the mind or being cutting, you know, just being really generous and gentle, trying to find solutions. And if this isn't for couples and singles, for example, I'm going to read all of the romance angels for creative projects. And this is really about sort of getting involved in your creative project. The light has, I was reading by the sunset, so sorry if this is really dark, Capricorn. So for creative projects, this could really just be about, you know, diving in, go for it, you know, don't take no for an answer, put time aside. Really make that time, the bliss, enjoy the holiday, you know, make it playful, make it fun. Here with your, are you on the correct path? Religious factors. Your love life is influenced by your religious upbringing and spiritual path. I'm going to add here that there could be an age or geographical difference, or that is playing some part in the influence here. So this is for couples and singles, religious factors. Absolutely. It could be that your upbringing in general. You were brought up in a really strict home. They were brought up in a really lackadaisical home. Even something is maybe unimportant at the beginning or on the surface can really show up in a long-term relationship, or once you really get to know someone here, or get to know a part of your project if this is a creative project here. So it's really just about differences in your upbringing, not necessarily religious, but it could be religious. So for couples and singles, this is really just about, you know, how do you meet in the middle here? How do you learn to communicate those important things to you without making someone else wrong? And then for creative projects here, this is really curious because you might be influenced, especially in spiritual projects or in spiritual development, in religions or spiritual practices that you didn't grow up with, which could be very exciting. Here is romantic feelings, and this is your main obstacle. Your feelings are real and worth exploring. I mean, as I said, this could be something, it almost feels like there's so much emotion, there's so many ties here. It's almost like you feel like you may need to get away here. There's almost like so much. But it doesn't have to be a problem, right? It can be the solution. Remember, you can really play with this and invent a lot of solutions here. And for creative projects, really play around with some ideas. Don't feel stuck on one. Don't feel like, you know, if you made a commitment to a certain project, but something else is pulling on your heartstrings right now, you know, maybe play with that, have fun with that. And then let go of control issues. What is helping you? Allow the situation to unfold naturally. Absolutely. I mean, we do have the Hermit crossing you, for example. It's almost like maybe let something be for the time being. Maybe try not to be harsh to yourself or to the other party. Remember your blessings, you know, remember to be grateful and thankful and come up with some creative solutions here. And of course, for creative projects, this is really just about, you know, not being a perfectionist. This is, you know, just letting, it's almost like, what do they call it? Like automatic writing or automatic drawing or something. You know, maybe have fun with that type of experience. And here with how is progress made is wedding. This situation involves marriage. This could be a good or bad thing. You know, if there's a lot of ongoing conflict or confusion here within a love relationship, it could be that this could feel a little bit daunting instead of exciting. You want something that's a commitment or a wedding to feel exciting, right? So for singles, I would suggest that your long-term outlook, and maybe make it clear to people that you're dating that this is your long-term plan so that they don't feel fooled. And then for creative projects, obviously, it's like you're looking for something that you can commit to that feels like perhaps it could outlive you. You could be working in ceramics or some other type of artwork or art process or creative process that sort of outlives humanity or lives through all of time. So we do have two incredibly spiritual cards here to finish up your reading. We have higher power. You know, you're really directed in a really positive way here. You have a lot going for you, so don't forget that. And if you do need to pray to God or source or look for inspiration, maybe do that. Remember your relationship with source. Or, you know, God or goddess or creatrix. Here with Archangel Michael, definitely shows up when he's available to you. If you feel like you're in an emotional or psychological crisis, Capricorn, I'm going to suggest that you reach out to Archangel Michael. He truly, truly does help, especially if you are under any duress, especially emotional duress here, or psychological, or you're having some difficulty making a decision or coming to terms with something. Reach out, reach out in clarity. Archangel Michael, help me through this, and then make it very clear. And this will be made available to you, especially with regard to, you know, some solutions, okay? And here with Wolf, we have teacher, okay? Teacher is always student, student is always teacher. So you're still learning a lot. There's a lot to learn. Try to have patience with yourself. Even if you feel that you're the expert or that you're very sophisticated here, you are dealing with a sophisticated individual as well. It's just that we all learn and express rather differently. And the whole point is to meet in the middle. So again, expediency this month is not your friend. Try to be patient, grateful, take things a little bit at a time, retreat, withdraw a little bit if you need to, and don't let your own thoughts drag you down, and try not to be cutting to yourself and others. So Capricorn, that is your reading for the month. I truly hope that you enjoyed that. Leave me a comment below. Let me know how it works out for you. And I will see you in a few weeks for your mid-month check-in. Until then, take excellent care. Bye for now.